a conscious choice to be on a break, which we'll figure out is a learning and a growth that I've had inside Eunoia. The Palak that I was always in this hustle mode, and I think I made work my life. So there was little I would do outside of work. And if I'm not working is when I would think I'm probably not living. I think loving myself. That was very hard. There were expectations from family, but above that, there were my own expectations that I never completely stood up upon. The minute I worked on myself and I was okay with taking breaks, which came after the zillion times that you asked me to take breaks, I am so chilled out about everyone taking break. See, one main thing that we understood inside Eunoia is that there's a right time for everything. I knew I wasn't feeling very healthy. I did not have great energy levels. And I would fall sick very often. And my clear goal was I need a lifestyle change that is sustainable. So I think the change here is the goal itself. I did not tell her I'm looking to lose weight. I put that, of course, the community. There were times when we were trying to be independent, not there as yet, but struggling. The community was a great help. So desire to get out of, say things weren't working. I've been a very serious person all my life. Things didn't work. I've been this very logical person all my life. I wasn't happy. It made sense for me to try and do things differently and just follow that small little nudge.
Hello and welcome to another Eunoia story. This time I have another very dear friend, Palak, here with me. For context, Eunoia stories are stories of people who've been inside Eunoia for a very long time, who are also still a part of Eunoia. I've seen their journeys on this spiritual path ever since they began, or actually even before they began this journey. So it's been amazing to see all of that, and that is what Eunoia stories are all about. We've done a few of them. I've also shared my own journey, not with Eunoia just, but in general, my entire journey. And today we are going to be talking with Palak for her journey. A little bit of intro. Palak has been a friend from, oh my God, since 2021, right? I think it was 2021. Probably. We met through a space where we were learning to build online businesses, and it just blossomed very quickly into an amazing friendship with our third friend Ananya as well. And we were friends. We were these people trying to make it in the online coaching business world and going about all of the hustle and doing all of this stuff that we do not even want to do anymore. Right? We started there, we became friends, and we've been friends since then. And then the journey to Eunoia started. So Palak has been a part of, or has known me before all of the spiritual part even began. And so it's the same for me with her as well, that I have seen her grow through this journey as well. So let's go ahead and meet Palak. Palak, let's jump in. I'd love to hear from you a little bit of introduction, and then we'll get started.
Hi, Rishma, and hi, everyone. Thank you so much for, actually doing this, because it takes me back to all those times and seeing how far both of us and, the we've come so far and the journeys have been so amazing. So I'm Palak and I'm from Delhi. I've been working pretty much doing everything in the online space, and currently very happy to say that I'm on a career break, because I think I was focusing on my health, and then also the pregnancy happened, and it was a conscious choice to be on a break, which we'll figure out is a learning and a growth that I've had inside Eunoia. Very, very elated to see Reshma's journey as well. And I think not 2021, but we've known each other from 2020. And we were in that program in 2020.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
But maybe the friendship between the three of us and the hustle started in 21. So there was this WhatsApp group where everyone's talking about launches. We are doing this. It's so stressful. So from that to, I think, more than 2 years inside Eunoia, and it's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I'm very glad for the nudge that I had to chat with you.
I know, I was this shy introvert overthinker who would probably not reach out beyond, okay, hi, how are you? How's the lunch going? And then the friendship wouldn't have happened if, you wouldn't have initiated that conversation. So in that group.
Yeah, that was like such a random thing, and it just made sense. It was just three of us it at that point, and somehow it was very meant to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes sense, and I'm very, very glad that I reached out and, focused on actually thinking, this is a good thing to build and actually doing it. So very glad that we are here now. Looking back, it feels like, oh my God, it's been so long. Remembering the people that we are, we were then to where we are now, it's crazy. So I, to like also, to be honest, Stories was also born, also kickstarted because of Palak in a way. So we were doing year-end reflections in Eunoia in December. And in one of the prompts that I shared, she'd written a lot of things about how much she's changed and how much she's grown. And it was more like her own journaling kind of a thing that she shared, the reflections. But reading that was like, it's like I've seen the journey, but reading that was like in my face, the whole thing just like kind of flew. And I was like, oh my God, we need to talk about this. That's how, our stories actually began. And I was like, I'm asking you, let's do this. Are you okay to come and share? And that's how actually we started. But eventually, it took us so long to actually get to this point of recording this podcast. But that's where it kickstarted. And I would love, love, love for you to share, obviously not what you wrote there exactly, but now from where you are right now, just the entire journey overall, whatever you feel like, stands out for you in terms of your own growth, who you were before and now.
Absolutely. So, it takes me some time to sit and think about who that Palak was. That's the kind of growth and change that I definitely see when I sit to reflect. Although, on a day-to-day basis, we generally forget and overlook everything. But the Palak that I was always in this hustle mode. And I think I made work my life. So there was little I would do outside of work. And if I'm not working, is when I would think I'm probably not living. That's I would honestly call myself a workaholic who probably wasn't enjoying the work as much, but there was this conditioning, and I was made. I just knew that work is the only thing that's going to bring me happiness. And for work, I would hustle. Breaks were not a thing that I knew. I never felt worthy enough of a break, or it didn't feel like, okay, break is something that you can call it productive and it's needed for you to bounce back better in your life. And I had very limited people I would talk to, not many friends, and it always felt very forced. I was doing a lot. I was honestly not that bad at things, but I didn't have a lot of confidence and self-worth and self-respect issues were definitely there. Plus, I was always struggling with relationships in my, you know, in my vicinity as well. So I honestly remember that the only thing I would do to feel better is, then vent out. Problems would still be there. I would vent out and, struggle to be assertive as well, not put out things because I would want everyone around me to be happy. So knowing very little about what I really want to do, being a very conditioned person who, did things that that were right as per the societal things. And very honestly, the one main thing that I really had to come out of was the image of a perfect daughter and a perfect daughter-in-law. So I think with my husband, I still had a very nice, chatty, friendly relationship. There was not like I could be myself, that only place I could be myself. But within my own family and my in-laws, I would, put myself at the last and keep looking at what everyone else needs. And before that, before I did not even know I am a projector. And my in-laws, everyone is a generator. So I would be like, I'm not doing enough. Yeah. So a lot of, unalignment came in. And at the core of it, I wasn't happy. I was doing the right things that felt right based on, the conditioning and how you should be as a society, a very obedient, disciplined girl, trying to make my parents and in-laws very proud kind of person. But then I wasn't happy, is what I honestly remember from back then, and always hustling, working, but chasing something, but not going anywhere, not reaching anywhere. I think that describes it better. So, yeah.
So, I think it's interesting to go from there to even making the choice to be in a space like Eunoia, to go on the spiritual path. Because I know you, knew you before, and you were not actually inclined in that direction. So what made you actually decide? Because even I know before joining, you were still not 100% sure if you wanted to be there or not.
Yes. So, I don't think I was very ready see, I was not religious, I was not spiritual, and I did not even know these two things are different, or, I really want to go either way. That's the state. So you started with a few free sessions. And I remember I wasn't getting anything. It just felt nice. I remember it was nice to be in that community, and we would do some small little things. Simple gratitude, simple journaling is what you started back then. It felt nice. And then I was at a point where I felt really stuck with my career as well. Like, I was working as a freelancer, which was pretty good, but I made a shift to be a coach. And I think so much more, everything went wrong ever since then. So from 2022, I think 2022, it was one drop after the other. And I just kept getting, going way down in that spiral. And, I like coaching, but it became like an obsession, if that's going to be the right way to say it. And it just became that I have to be out there. Even content creation was forced. I did not know. I was drained. I did 2 or 3 programs and I would be drained, and I would not, even coaching became joyless. The joy that I had felt in helping others became more like work, and became more like I need to make it work. So it felt like I was stuck majorly with the work aspect. But now that I go back and look at it from a bigger picture, maybe I was struggling in all other aspects as well. So I would not focus as much on health because work came above everything else. I would not meet many people because why waste time? You have your coaching thing to, make it work. And there was a lot of force. There was a lot of, I have to do it kind of energy. And there was unalignment. There was massive unalignment. So I don't know how much ever I did, it never worked. So unalignment, not being myself, and then forcing, definitely. So I think I was so stuck, and the sessions were, just giving me a little bit of peace and calmness is why I was like, what, I have to get out of this stuck thing. And my primary goal with Eunoia was to be able to establish myself as a coach, which I am no longer even. So honestly, career is not even a goal for 2025 for me. Can you believe that? So it's neither a primary nor a secondary, no goal, for my career. But my primary thing back then was to join Eunoia and, just get unstuck with what is stopping me, flourish as a coach. Because I knew back then, I did not even knew I'm good as a coach. There was so much self-worth issues, and there was so much, I was so low on confidence. So I would challenge my self-worth as a coach there every time, every session. And so I just wanted to make progress with my career and just feel better by, seeing what's ahead on this path. So that was my only motivation back then.
And now coming to where you are now, that is like a whole different world, like you just said. It began somewhere else and it got you somewhere else, right? Like what, at least from now, who are you as a person? Because we've spoken about, how you were before and what got you into Eunoia, or getting on the spiritual path rather, without knowing that it is that what it's what we're doing here, but more from just finding that peace within, probably you could say that, to feeling not so caught up in life and everything, to where you are now. I think having that bigger picture, then we can dive a little deeper into the smaller aspects of it. But like, who's Palak now?
Very interesting question. So Palak, I think on a day-to-day basis, is a happy girl. I think that makes sense. After all the work, which doesn't look as big, it was big when I was doing all the work inside Eunoia. After all that work, I think there's a little bit of detachment from whatever is happening in the outside world. And there's some sense of comfort, peace, and happiness very deep inside of me. And I've massively worked the self-love stack that we had inside Eunoia was, I think, one turning point for me. And that's, I think there's so much love for me to share as well. It's not just love for myself. And I remember I was telling my husband the other day, please love yourself, because then you'll have a lot more to love to share, to give me and to our, we're just going to be having a baby in just a few days. So I was like, okay, you need to love yourself more, because that's how you'll have so much more love to share. So all these are things that I've experienced, and those things have really made that shift inside of me. So as of now, I am not as affected by the external circumstances, which was, I did not even know is a goal for a happy and a peaceful life. And, reaching here is something. I am not the person to instantly get very, knocked off by something. And then I would either call my mama, or I would either, reach out to my husband and just vent out. And then the third person, if none of them could help, would be you. And I'm like, Reshma, this is happening. And trust me, I don't know if you remember, but like, I've always just vented it all out on you, and then said, thank you for listening. And you've just told me one thing: take a break. Just take a break. So I would push myself to be, productive, even in those times when I was so anxious. I was so, caught up with all in my head, and I would want that. So I think there are fewer instances. There is so much more awareness. I think I cannot talk, enough about it, but uh, having been a person who's so much conditioned, you don't. So I remember my desires were the desires of my family. So why is this on my desire list? Because my father wants me to do this. My mother-in-law would like me to do this, all of those things. Now I am so aware that this is not my goal. And if, this doesn't feel right, I don't have to do it. So from that conditioning to coming to a point wherein I know what I want, and then I'm also able to put it across very nicely, but firmly, that okay, this is not something that sits right with me, and I would rather do it this way. So as a result of everything, like the self-love stack, and then working on my self-worth. My self-worth earlier would be like, if I'm not working, I'm not worthy. So if I'm not putting anything out in the world that adds value, I'm not bringing money to the table, then I'm not worthy. So there were so many conflicting thoughts, and I was not working. I remember I filled the joining form for 2024 inside Eunoia, and you asked, what do you do? There was a section in the form, and I said, I do a lot of crazy things, but I'm jobless right now. That's what was my thought. 2025, this January, I filled in the form and I said, I am on a break. I'm on a consciously decided to take a break because I need one. Wow. So there was a massive difference in how I am looking at myself and taking, accepting that it's okay to take a break, like not be actively working on something. So, and then, finding out ways other than work that satisfy me. So I've worked so much on my physical health as well. My lifestyle change is a major thing that happened in 2024. And honestly, I don't think there's ever going back. Yeah. So permanent life changes have happened. And this is the new Palak. I'm sure it only gets better.
Absolutely. Yes. I get the workaholic thing because I'm very similar, but yeah. I know that you were even more of a workaholic than me. But and seeing that huge shift where you're like, I'm on a break, career break, that itself is like a huge, huge shift, I would say. What are you most proud of on this journey?
Most proud of? There will be so many things, but the one thing, I think loving myself. That was very hard because, I've been this person who's always had, there were expectations from family, but above that, there were my own expectations that I never completely stood up upon. So I was never satisfied. I remember when I would, I got married and I would cook something at home. I would never, so my in-laws would be all nice and happy and they would say, "Bahut acha bana hai." I'd be like, you know what, this can be better the next time. Or maybe namak zyada hai, this is that, that is that. So they were
never satisfied.
Never satisfied. There were some expectations from the family. So if they were there, my expectations were here. And I remember I once told my teacher also, मुझे first आके भी अच्छा नहीं लगता है. What do you want beyond like, class में first आ गए? So, chasing something that
Yeah,
where is the end? What are you chasing?
exactly.
So I think loving myself even after a day where I've done nothing,
According to your old
and
self.
yes, according to my old self, and being happy with breaks, really believing that this is the only life I have, and I am very much allowed to do everything that I feel like doing that brings me joy, and basically loving myself, accepting myself for who I am. So the base
Yeah.
qualities haven't changed. I'm still, my characteristics, my values are still there, but then I would never find them enough. Like I would think I'm not creative. But then we had that amazing creative session as well that changed my entire perspective. And now how I look at it is maybe I can't draw or paint, but then I'm creative in ways that none of these generators around me are. And I'm like, you can't see that far off. You don't know how to create systems. Come, I'll, help
Yeah.
you. So I am that pro person in the family now. And I'm like, you know what? That's how creative, that's my zone of creativeness and geniusness there. So those are the changes. And I think I'm really, if nothing, like if I would have done everything else, but not this, then I don't know if it would have been made me as happy or as, joyful as I feel right now. So yeah, definitely this one thing.
I love that because, as much as people do talk about, I got this, I became, got this, that's, I think my focus has always been about those inner changes because those are the ones that create the most impact. And another reason why I don't promote anything based on the results that people look for, right? When they decide, do I want to join the space? Um, not from a promotion perspective, because I think I want to make that very, very clear, is these are the things that we need to look for on a journey, because this is what makes you happy from inside. It's that internal happiness that matters more. The happiness that isn't dependent on anything that you do, say, all of it. It just is. It's that love that you have for yourself. It's that compassion that you build for yourself. It's that trust you build inside of yourself. It's that all of that brings about a totally different kind of a shift in you. And those are the kind of things even today, I will continue to focus on, no matter how long we continue with Eunoia or all of it. Those are the things that I feel are more important than anything else that we say that, oh, I got this and got that, and the material things, right? They're going to happen. They are a byproduct of it, of you working on yourself. And I love what you said, because I think I remember, like, I think you're that one proponent for self-love stack that we've done who has been so much impacted by it. And I'm also very, very glad that that happened that way, right? And also, I feel it's such an important aspect. To be honest, I didn't go on a journey of self-love myself on this spiritual journey, but I realized that all the things that I have done along the way that made me actually start loving myself. Pretty much what went into that stack is about, that it's not self-love from any other perspective, that it was just understanding what it means to actually love yourself, being selfish for that moment, like you're going to tell your husband, like, love yourself so that you have more to give others. That's the point. You need to be selfish. Focus on yourself first. Do it for yourself first and foremost, not with the intention that I need to, have for more to give others, but actually because you're going to feel so much more better inside, and it's so glad. I'm very glad. I know this is not going to come out that early, with Valentine's Day, but I always feel that, Valentine, okay, because we are talking about this, I always, there's this thing of people want somebody to, love and cool. But for all of those people who are searching for love outside, I think it's very, very important that you find love within yourself first and foremost. It's because when you keep looking for it outside, you're always going to fall short for yourself, and it's better when it comes from within you. So anything that comes externally is like all extra. It's all great. You're not dependent. You have that within you. So I just wanted to drop that because it feels right for me to share that.
And I would love to add that when you love yourself, so, when you fill your own glass, I'll give a very simple example. So when I would not take breaks, I would be very triggered when someone else at my workplace would take breaks. I would not be very happy with my husband delaying work. I would not be very excited about, the employees we had. And when they are not as productive, I would get triggered. Because see, I am hustling. And in my own eyes, I'm not taking a break. So how can someone else's break be so justified? The minute I worked on myself and I was okay with taking breaks, which came after the zillion times that you asked me to take break, I am so chilled out about everyone taking break. And I'm like, you know what? They're on a break today. Tomorrow they're going to be back with like a new energy and there's going to be more productivity at work. And I then look forward to, seeing them. So when you love yourself and when you're okay with being not perfect, with being clumsy, with being however you are, you become very much open and okay about the variety of people and, everyone around you, accepting about them. So please work on yourself and love yourself, because then the world is a much more better and a more beautiful place. So yeah, self-love above everything.
Yeah, it's not like people have changed. It's you who have changed in your perspective and your view that makes you look at things also differently.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I wish that this was going out in time for Valentine's Day, but it's okay. Whenever the time is right.
Time is right, yes.
So one of the things, and again, this is something that I would love to talk about, human design, because you mentioned about being a projector and understanding, and let's go into that part of it, how human design has helped you, what kind of an impact that has made.
Massive impact, although I still feel like, I did all the sessions, but until I feel like I've literally absorbed everything and I'm able to make, based on the charts, I'm able to understand everyone is not up until then. I'm not going to feel like I'm there as yet, but just understanding and knowing that I'm a projector and an SPP. So with my defined head and Agna and all of that. So understanding that I will not have the kind of energy that my generator husband or my generator in-laws have, or that, my father is a manifesting generator. So there is some leeway that I need to give to him for last minute things and, for him doing everything. The friction between everyone, the relationship friction, first, most importantly, went down.
Yeah.
Because I became very accepting of the fact that everyone's going to be different. So that came in. Second most important thing is my own expectations from myself to be at a certain energy level all throughout the day, 365 days, which my husband can pretty much be when he is aligned. So that came down. So there was no, I'm the last person to do any physical work at my home, which wasn't very well sitting with me, let alone my in-laws and my family. See, if I'm not accepting that ye nahi ho raha hai mere se, so how can they accept? Over time, I understood, okay, I am not going to have that kind of energy. And I would want a lot more me time, free time. I would want a lot more rest. And then over time, understanding how that rest brought in so much more productivity the other day. So when I'm well rested and, I'm neither sleep deprived, my body is good. As a projector, if I'm feeling great in my own energy and aligned as well, I'm going to be able to do things much faster. So basically just understanding my profile type, understanding how my energies work, how also I get affected sometimes by my husband's energy. So he's a generator. So always lit up and always having this extra energy that he would want to then disperse. So staying at a distance and also then communicating it to him that, you know what, you might expect me to be there for everything that you plan on doing, but no. So now he knows last minute plans don't work for me. So he would rather go out with his own friends and not create a plan where I'm also involved. And, he would ask beforehand. So relationships get better. Your own expectations from your self become a bit more realistic, because itna main kar sakti hu. Beyond this is not something I should expect. So I think I'm yet to get into the details and understand and explore more based on my profile. But just having this bit of understanding has changed a lot of things in my life.
Yeah.
And then, of course, waiting for the right invitation. As a projector, I think I've been using that at small places here and there. So yeah, it's been serving very well.
I think human design, like you said, along with the relationships, understanding ourselves also such an important, even if nothing, just these two things itself are itself game changers from this perspective, because, and I love that how somehow, self-love, human design, these are all very similar in the way of learning to accept not just you, but also others. And that makes a difference. It's a very interesting connection, which I just clicked. So, if you have to look back at your journey, what are the, I know you said, self-love made a huge difference, but if you look back at your journey, what are the things that you see that made difference in how you change the way you look at life itself?
So I think, see, one main thing that we understood inside Eunoia is that there's a right time for everything. So initially I joined Eunoia and I would be like, every other course you join, you would really want to finish all the modules and all the content. And then at the end of the first year, I was like, there's so much more for me to do. At the end of second year, I was like, oh my God, there's even more. And I literally had those lists of this is done and this is pending. I think now I'm at a place where I'm like, what I need is going to come in at the right time for me to do. So, so I think I joined Eunoia with the perspective of, finishing up things and doing all recordings, going through all the content, making notes like how I would for other courses. But then after a point of being inside Eunoia and Reshma repeating that, there's when you need something, it's going to show up at the right time, and you can't finish the content, which is a reality. You can't finish the content. However, if you keep doing what you need is what's going to serve the best. So initially, I think the first year went into me figuring out my own self and fighting through the resistance. There was even when I joined Eunoia, I wasn't able to do visualizations because my logical mind would always chatter, and it was because I wasn't that hustle mode, right?
Yeah,
I wouldn't even get proper sleep because my brain was working even when I was sleeping, trying to figure out plans for the next day, trying how I can make things, work differently and all of that. So first year went into a lot of me fighting all the resistance and seeking a lot of support from, of course, Reshma and everyone else in the community as well. That year, I don't think there were changes, but there weren't changes that I could look back upon and be like, wow, Palak, that's been a great year so far. So I was still getting used to understanding the first year. Sorry, how can I forget? The first year, empathy engineering was the thing that changed everything for me. Now, I think I've made a lot of changes with respect to my relationships, and empathy engineering happened in 2023, which was for self-love and before even we did human design. So the whole thing about relationships and me understanding the other person happened. Empathy engineering was a
I remember it's your favorite topic.
It's
before we had more.
Yes, and I was very particular. I did all those sessions live, and that gave me that spark because before that, visualizations and all, I wasn't able to get a hang of it, and I wasn't able to be very present, get messages and all of that. But empathy engineering really changed the game for me. So first year went into me doing small practices, but with great consistency in the terms of gratitude, journaling, energy clearing I would do, but empathy engineering is what then made me look at everyone else as humans and not some perfect beings who had to be a certain way. So there came in, and I remember I was struggling with two very important relationships, and I was really hurt at that time. And I was not able to move, those relationships where it's not that you can't meet them, you have to meet them, but you have that heaviness in your chest and you just don't know what to do. So I remember at that time we had anonymous forms we could share our things, and there was one night at 3 p.m. I just opened that form. I did not know who to went out to, and I wrote a big a big piece of everything that was just heavy, and I could sleep after that. It was like a venting. But then when we addressed that, and it made sense how I could just wear a new pair of glasses and look at the entire situation from a different perspective, and just settle with it. So it's not that the changes were quick. Like, I did not even remember right now. It took me a little while to think what happened in the first time. But those were very, very gradual, but very permanent changes. So it just changes your perspective, and you look at the same things in a very different way. So first year, I think gratitude, journaling, empathy engineering. I couldn't do a lot of visualization. Scripting was my favorite. I would do that.
Yeah.
So these are small things that were the highlight of the first year. Second year, then we had such amazing, interesting stacks: self-love, creativity. My most favorite is the wealth stack as well.
Yeah.
I think that came in at a point where I was still struggling with my career, and I realized that maybe I'm not in the zone to work, but there's this pressure to work because I think I need to make more money, and I don't have enough for me to. And the realizations were amazing. I did not need as much money as I think I needed, and then I was not open to receiving is the biggest block that came up. So there was so much self-worth associated with receiving. So just to give a little bit more background, in my family, it's always like, the giver is better than a taker. So be a giver and not a taker. So it was so imbibed in me. I would have hesitations in taking, accepting, and not just money, for that matter, even love, help. I wouldn't be very okay. So when I couldn't ask for help. And then when I would get help, I would feel so indebted. It's like I would help everyone around me, but getting help would make me feel like, there's this heaviness, and I need to pay back, and I need to not ask again. I need to plan better so that I'm in a position to not ask again. So receiving love, receiving help, receiving money, I was totally blocked, for sure. And ever since we did the wealth stack, it's not just money. It's been so much love, help. Everything has been pouring in. People just come in and give me their wishes. People just come in and they pour so much love. People inside Eunoia community, people outside of Eunoia community as well. So I don't know what's happening. I am more open to receiving, and the universe is just flooding me with all the abundance that there is. So I don't think it's going to be fair for me to say there's been one highlight in the journey and the process, but there's been all these small little things that have, worked up in totality to bring in the change that I am really living right now. And just to add to it, I was the person who was constantly very much caught up in being the same place because there was fear of change and uncertainty. I wanted to be where I am.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't know what's coming ahead. I would not change clients. I would not change offices. I would not change employees. I would not change anything. And for that matter, the pregnancy never happened because there was so much. It's not that I did not know what to expect. Fear of change. I do not know what's going to happen next. How is it going to go? I would not go to a gynaec, as simple as that. Because I don't want to be in that zone. So the overall change in how things can be better when you decide to change, and how there's so much more lying ahead of you only if you become okay with what's coming. And I think I ended up truly believing that everything is happening for me. So that's one thing I clearly remember. And I had to undergo an MRI examination, which is like a 20-minute process, and they put you in a tunnel, and I slept off there. It was like, whatever the reports are, it's gonna be fine. Everything's happening for me. That's when I realized this is me. This has become me. This thought is like so much ingrained now with all the experiences and all the, things that we go through, that you end up believing that even if the reports are not as favorable as you think they should be, you believe this is a redirection. So maybe, I started working on my health right after that.
Yeah.
So there's been a massive lifestyle change ever since that trip. So everything just fits in.
Yeah. I think with respect to your, changes and shifts and all of that, I think the health part of it has been very, very interesting for me also to witness. And that was in 2024, seeing
Yes.
that shift. I'd love for you to share that, because I think, I'm sure that others would also benefit a lot from it. What are those things that helped you on this journey, or what are the mindset shifts that actually that you made to now knowing that, this is how life is, again, from a person who's also still working on my health, from a different perspective. I think this would be really wonderful to know, because I know you've taken everything and applied it.
Yeah. Everything I think I learned inside Eunoia just fitted in at the right time for my health. So, like Reshma says, be careful about the intentions and goals you set before a new year. My goal for 2024 was health. And because I knew I had been avoiding, not for my pregnancy in general, I had been avoiding health tests and doctor visits and everything in general. I knew I wasn't feeling very healthy. I did not have great energy levels, and I would fall sick very often. So these were signs enough for me to know things are not great. So health was a goal. Health was a goal since forever. If I
Yeah.
go back to childhood, ever since in my college, I think I gained weight, and then there was this PCOD thing that came up. I did a lot of diets, a lot of, shakes, protein shakes, and diets, and restricting things to eat, and all of that happened, but nothing was sustainable.
Mm.
So health was always a goal, but with respect to my work and career, health always kept taking a back seat. I never really remember working very nicely and, on health, and it was always forced.
Yeah.
Doing things that others said were right. You should try that exercise, you should try this diet, and, you should maybe do this, do that, and take these medicines and move to Ayurveda, and all of that happened. But then until 2024, I fell sick in April, and then began a series of tests. But because inside Eunoia, we had learned that, as long as you keep forcing and as long as you keep listening to all the advices coming to you without understanding what you really want, how you want to approach that problem, things are not going to be as sustainable or as free flowing. So this time when health challenges came in, I realized that PCOD, along with everything else, was more from a lifestyle perspective. So
Mm.
if I could fix my lifestyle, I think I could fix my health, which might take some time, but it's going to be a very sustainable way. I
Mm.
won't have to force things and,
Mm.
be a certain way. So the first thing in my health journey was understanding that I am done with quick fixes. I'm
Mm.
done with things being forced and being said to be done in a particular way. I wanted to find my own
Mm.
joy of working on my health as well. So, and I knew I don't know enough. I need
Mm.
somebody's help. I need a person who can tell me how to fix it.
Mm.
So I already had a few people in mind, but then I reached out to nutritionist who I felt like, there was this connection, there was this
Yeah.
alignment, which is what we start doing once we are on this journey. And, so I had a feeling this is going to be the right person for me to, work on my health. So I reached out to her, and my clear goal was I need a lifestyle change that is sustainable. So I think the change here is the goal itself.
Mm.
I did not tell her I'm looking to lose weight. I did not tell her I'm looking to fix my reports, which are not great, or I'm planning to conceive and I need all things to,
Mm.
fix things around my system. I sent her my reports and I told her I want a lifestyle change that is sustainable for me to feel better energy
Yeah.
wise. I need to be able to do my own things and not feel
Mm.
like a 70-year-old already. So if you notice, the goal is
Mm.
not losing weight. The goal is not
Mm.
shedding extra kilos or inches in 2 months, 3 months. And I'm so glad the person I reached out to was about the same notion
Mm.
and idea about health as well. And since then, we started working. Difference in my approach based to how I would do it earlier was that I took it one day at a time with one small change in my lifestyle.
Mm.
So we don't want to bombard changes in a way that
Yeah.
you make it suffocating for you to get through it. So just having the right guidance, and then being very slow and kind to yourself. Again, please be loving to the body. I told that my body is doing great.
Mm.
There was this thing that I am really very happy with how I did nothing for my body, and my body has been so far so good, right? We still have scope to
Exactly.
work and make changes. So those were the little shifts which came in from self-love, if you see that. self-love, gratitude for my body, and then being very realistic about it's not like a quick journey that you're going on.
Yeah.
So being very okay with slow, sustainable changes, which was clearly a shift in the mindset, right? I'm not chasing numbers here again, numbers on the weighing scale or numbers on the inchy tape. That's not what I was chasing. So came in, then I started very slowly incorporating those changes, and very happily, it actually went into me enjoying cooking as well. So then I think cooking became a very creative outlet for me. I started experimenting and playing around with healthy recipes. I wanted variety, I wanted taste as well, but then I wanted it to be healthy. So I had help available, and like, what to do, how to play around, and make it more sustainable. And I don't know how, but in time I also started enjoying my evening walks. My evening walks became a way for me to ground, a way for me to actually not be doing anything, because I still am that person who's either working on something, not work, but then I'm still working, right? So walks became, so everything became very aligned. So basically, not jumping into things and then not being like, this is how it should be done. See what your body feels like doing, what actually is working for you, what is bringing in joy as well. And then keep counting your wins. I would make one healthy dish and I would be on the top of the world and be like, wow, that's healthy and tasty. And, I can enjoy guilt free. So in time, there were no cravings. There will be cravings initially, and I was okay with it. So being very patient with yourself throughout the journey. And so having the right kind of support, having the right kind of mindset, being patient with yourself, loving your body irrespective of, the challenges you face, and then figuring out, okay, what feels like a flow, not something that feels forced. So I still can't get up. So early morning walks are better than the evening walks, right? But I can't get up. I'm not forcing myself to get up at 5 a.m. and go for a walk. No. I need my sleep, and I need my walk. So I'm going to see where that fits in.
Right.
So making things work, I think.
There's so many amazing small shifts and changes that make it what it is. And I think that's what's important as well, irrespective of what journey we are on, health or, our own mental peace, or whether it's work, whether it's all about those small things. Again, finding flow, finding joy. I think these are things that help us go in the right direction and keep going. I think the thing is important is you keep going. It's not no longer like up to a certain point. It becomes a part of your life. And that is how I think it makes a difference, in the longer run. Yeah.
Another thing that I wanted to add for the health thing is that, I was this obedient person who would sign up for a course and be like, no, my coach has asked me to do this, and this is exactly what needs to happen. I remember I tried doing that inside Eunoia as well. You need to clear your energy a certain way, and that's how you only need to do it. See, that's good for when you're beginning and, you need a little bit of guidance. You're new to things. But how I understood that I need to find my own flow in Eunoia and figure out things that are working for me is what I also applied with my health coach and nutritionist. She gave me a list of things to do. However, I did not, like a very obedient child, stick to it and be like, no, I'm going to do this XYZ. So again, understanding yourself, the awareness that I was talking about initially made and brought in a huge difference. So understanding what's working for you and then what's working for your body, and creating your own things from whatever is being given to you. I think that's been a major learning for me. So that works at all areas of your life as well.
Absolutely. I don't think it's ever been about this is what you're supposed to do. Here's everything you need. Take it and make it your own. Figure out what works best for you. I think that is a very, very important thing, to understand how you create your own kind of a personal thing, practice, or whatever you want to call it, routines, rituals. What works for you is what's important.
That reminds me, we created a toolkit, a personal toolkit inside Eunoia for ourselves, exactly for this, like, things that work for you and things that you really need in your arsenal.
Because it's not about following something to the T. You practice, get better, and then figure out what's really working. You try everything out and just say, this is not for me. it's okay that it's not for me, but then there's something else that works really well as well. I think one of the things was always focusing on giving as many things as I can, so that you go whichever direction. You want to go this direction, go here. You want to go this direction, go here. You want to create your own. I think that's one of the things we focused on. And I love that you said that you applying that to health. Okay, that was a very, very interesting point for sure.
We are changing we are changing from deep inside.
Yeah, exactly.
With our spiritual journey and all the things that we are doing, the change is not superficial. And like you always say that when you work on one aspect, I think the other automatically comes up and matches your frequency there. So that definitely happens. Me working on my physical health was very much influenced from everything I did for my spiritual health, and now I think that's working for my emotional health as well. So everything all together is just coming up beautifully.
Wonderful. So, one of the things that, both of us have had is we were friends before, and we used to talk a lot, chat a lot about everything before, I actually started. So it was a little bit challenging for me as a coach, and also, for her being a student in this space, to kind of create that boundary as to where do we draw the line between a coach and being a friend. Especially because I think at that point, both of us used to talk a lot. Literally, we used to share a lot of so it's like when she used to show up for sessions, I know what's the background. And for me to know that and then still, respond as a coach used to be a challenge. So we used to have a little bit of, that push and pull happening in between us. But interestingly, getting to the context and getting to the question. But for me as a coach, I feel I grew a lot through learning how to deal, with this particular relationship. It took a lot of us. There were times when things weren't great between us as friends, and then we are here still as a, inside Eunoia. So that struggle was always there. But I think it is such an important part of both of our journeys. For me to understand, learning to draw boundaries and learning to how do I still maintain relationships differently while still helping, trying to be of help, and knowing where to draw the line. So I need to still step back and, as a friend, I want to get her to do things, but I need to also take a step back as a coach and allow people to go on the journey. So for me, it has been a great learning process. And also times when I used to get really frustrated as well. And also sense that she's also very, very angry with me, right? But I think we both had our journey with it, and I'd love for her to share. But I feel there was a point when last year when I decided that I do not want to be this person where people keep coming to and asking for help. So I put in a rule inside Eunoia that if you've been inside Eunoia a while, you cannot keep coming to me with all of your problems and ask me to solve them. Right? Because I want you to be independent. I don't want you to keep coming to me. It's not like I don't want to help. It's more like I want you to be independent and try and solve this by yourself before coming to me. I shouldn't be like, immediately, let's go ask Krishna. That was not what I wanted. So that led to some initial challenges, but I feel it helped so much in not just for me, but not just for us as well, but I think overall it created more independence inside Eunoia as well, for that matter. Because again, I believe in that independence from people's, putting things on you, or independence for looking at outside for your decisions and for your choices and for things that, right? I like that I prefer that people can do things on their own. So that was what kind of got me to that point where I didn't want this to become a thing that, I become the go-to person for solving, because no, I want you to be able to do this for yourself was the intention. But that has been an interesting journey as well. Let's talk about that, Palak. Now from your side, I've shared mine.
Yes. Absolutely. So I think when Eunoia happened, it was pretty much when we were on the friends trip to Goa.
Oh yeah, right, correct. Just after Goa, Eunoia became a thing. Like it just happened. Yes.
Yeah. So, that was the kind of space that me and Reshma were in. So that was our first trip with our friend Ananya. And, we were pretty much together. We planned our trip and it was nice. So we were in a very close space and we would talk very much and we would discuss lunches. We would discuss. So I think the three of us knew pretty much what's going on a day-to-day basis for the three of us in our lives. And WhatsApp group would always be like ting, 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 ting. So that was the kind of, So I think very much as a human and as a natural, I human tendency, there was a lot more expectations from Reshma as a friend initially than as a coach inside Eunoia. So not that I was looking for any additional preferences or favors in the call or sessions, but behind the scenes there was like I was still ping her as a friend, right? We can still have that conversation. So I did not know when to expect what from Reshma as a friend and when to expect what as a coach. And now, because I was on this journey, very new, very lost, a lot of resistance, and still a part of me expecting her to help me as a friend, if not as a coach. So, like other relationships, I think I'm struggling more than a bit here as well. So, I did not want to lose a friend, but I did not want to be left, like a dangling pointer in Eunoia because it was something very new for me. So as much as I wanted to be inside Eunoia, I wanted Reshma to be my friend as well. So, there's this conflict of, do I let go of the friendship or do I let go of Eunoia?
Oh, I remember that point. Oh my God.
So that was my conflict. And, I think now that I look back at it, I still feel it was natural and human. We were so much, in conversation before that. And then when Eunoia happened, I think we were in a space where there were a lot of very logical questions coming in from everyone who joined initially. And probably because, it was the first batch in the first year for Reshma as well, there was a little bit more spoon feeding that was coming to us. I have that feeling, oh, first batch ke liye thoda partial hota hai na, वैसा वाला. So we were the lucky ones and we would have all sort of stupid questions. And she was very kind and patient with all of those questions. And we would have long, long, long sessions and, she would answer all of that. So maybe first as a friend there was this expectation, then as a coach I felt like we are in this space where we are like very supported and मतलब ये तो हमें मिलता ही आया है ना शुरू से. We have always received the kind of support, so how can we not get it now? So the point when Reshma started having a little bit of boundary is when I think was the time when we had that push and pull and the friction, and I would be so, because there was so much I was working through and I would not know who else to reach out to as well. So everything when you start doing inside Eunoia feels like, is it me logical? Is it the messages that I'm getting? There's resistance. The journey is not easy. I really don't want to put that message out. It is going to take everything out of you. The other side is beautiful, but be ready for the, I don't know, turmoil.
Everything, all the crap that you go through, right? Basically, I think one thing that we're very specific about is the journey is not a simple one. It's not an easy one. It makes it nice to have people around you who are on it, but the journey is still very individual. It's still very challenging. You have to go through that crap, basically.
So no one around me would understand. And the only person I had hopes from was, according to me back then, was behaving very indifferently. It's like, is that my friend? Is that the coach? Or who is this person? And see, I really have to say that Reshma was also on her own journey. Like we had Eunoia, but she was also going through a lot, which I don't think I could understand back then. For me, she was the friend who was always there. And then next, she was the coach who had that, responsibility kind of thing. No, I, kind of, feeling she owes that to me it becomes your notion back then. And because I wasn't as kind to myself, probably I wasn't as kind to her also. Like I wanted her to be there for me, like, as a friend, as a coach, and all those weird expectations that I think are totally wrong. This is me now thinking. Back then I did not understand or have an idea. So there were frictions, and I remember wanting to quit, but I did not ever quit Eunoia. And I really have to thank Reshma for keeping the friendship alive as well, because I don't think I had it in me back then to sail through and get through the challenges, or maybe even understand that I need more time right now. So just Reshma saying that, okay, we'll talk later, or maybe, take that break. And or maybe her pinging me after a gap of us not having spoken for a few days in a while. I had that all inside of me that no, I want that distance from her. Although I wanted her to, have us to have that conversation, but there was this, hesitation, ego, irritation, everything that came in. And so every time I think definitely has to be Reshma. All big thanks and all credits to you for, still doing all the work, putting in all the effort for us, for me to still call us friends, and for me to be still your mentee inside Eunoia. And I think the second part of it was when in 2024 initiated that every one of us should become more independent. So by then there was not that friend or a coach issue that I still had, but it was more about me being left on my own in the world where I don't understand. I'm not getting any messages, or the messages I'm getting don't feel aligned. There's still a lot that I'm struggling with. So I think it took me a long while to come to a point wherein I stopped reaching out to you for help. And I would rather solve my problem and come to you and tell you, Reshma, this is what happened. This is what I did. And then you're like, wow, that's nice. You're going the right way and this is working out. So the journey has not been easy. Reshma has been the biggest support ever. And we have had our own fair of challenges. But now that I see, I think it's worked beautifully for me to also understand friendships better, be more accepting of people, be more empathetic, and understand that, she might also be going through some of her own problems, chaos, and, the journey itself, which is not easy. So overall, I think it's been a great learning. And I think we are here to stay. The friendship is not going to go anywhere. If it has, we have sailed through that shit. It's going to stay.
We've crossed the biggest challenges there.
So yes, everything that I learned inside Eunoia did help me with our relationship, but in time. I think I wasn't very mature back then, which is definitely what I can see from here. And the thing about being independent, it does pay off. And like I said, it's paying off for my health journey as well. Exactly. And I'm understanding what works for me instead of letting my coach decide and dictate and say, this is what you have to do. So she's a great help, but I take inputs and then I make it out on my own, which is what is ideal. There's no one coach who can tell you what you need to do in your life. You are different, you are unique, you have your own unique circumstances, environment, lifestyle, goals, desires. Like you are not anyone else. So how can someone else tell you this is right and this is wrong? So the whole idea about making us independent, I think it's going to serve me for the rest of my life. I'm not taking like a blunt advice from anyone. I'm always going to go what fits right for me, what feels right, what feels aligned, and then going ahead with it. So hats off to you for taking that tough call. I think everyone disliked you for that little while.
I know.
Everyone was like, why this?
Yeah.
But yeah.
It is a challenge, right? Like, see, it's a space where you want that support, and I want to be that person to help. But at the same time, I also see this from a bigger picture where I do not also want that kind of dependency to be there, and I want everyone to have their own journey. And look at what beautiful thing came out of it. You worked on your health journey entirely by yourself, by applying things. I wasn't even a part of that. I didn't know all the things that you were doing. Now that you're sharing all of it, I know the output of it. I know what happened as a result of you doing all of that. So this makes it so much more worth it, because it happened by you taking all of those decisions. And this is what I want from everyone. I tell people who join, initially I'm happy to answer your questions, okay, but after a point, if you've been inside, a while, I need you to go and start figuring out things by yourself, because this dependency is not what I'm here to create. And I'm so glad of that that independent part, especially with you. Because we've had this kind of a relationship, this particular thing was something that made a huge difference, which I'm very, very happy about, to be honest. More so than anybody else. We didn't dive into this with anybody else, but we had that, that constant, problems and challenges. So the reason I wanted to again bring this question about is how important that independence is. And though it can feel difficult, You can feel like, why am I trying to solve this by myself? But that is going to make you so much more stronger. Like, I used to give this example. I think when I back in my training days, when I used to do employ, like in college training, when I used to teach people aptitude and reasoning and all of that, right? So I used to be like, try solving this math problem or whatever on your own, because the feeling that you get by solving by yourself is something else altogether. It builds that confidence in you, and then you will be able to do more. But if I tell you this is how you do it every time, then you will never build that confidence in yourself. And what you say about the fact that everybody is different, even whoever might be the best coach, but they are always, it's not going to be probably the right thing for you. They might give you the best advice, but you have to take it through your own filter. You have to understand how it works for you. You need to be able to do that tweaking, because nothing is ever going to be 100% perfect. You
Totally.
always have to filter it through your lens, and that's what that independence is. That's what that confidence is. That's what it makes you as a person.
Yes. And the beauty about it, I am so ready for whatever is coming next. This is, of course, my first pregnancy, first baby, and there's all sort of advice coming to me from left, right, and center. And I have advices telling me that I should not be working, I should be taking a break, I should be doing that, I should be doing this. I've ignored all of that throughout my pregnancy. I am pretty sure I'm ignoring all of that coming. But there's not this anxiety there. I don't know if that makes sense. So I've done the basic preps as a projector that makes me feel better, right? And I know everything I need, I have at my hand's distance. All of that is done. However, I totally agree it's going to be a new experience, but I'm all in for the learning. I'm all in, and all praises for my body for going through this. There's so much self-love and there's so much love for my body as well. Like, I've literally embraced it all through the 9 months. There's not been, why am I looking a certain way? I have freckles on my face, but trust me, I love them because it's a part of the process. And everything that's happening is just making me fall so much more in love with myself, the process, and everything that's going to come up. I am not feeling like I'll need a lot of help in figuring things out. I'll be quickly able to figure out what's going to be working for me and quickly be able to create systems and jump back at life. Like, I don't know, there's this weird confidence in me that I also don't know where does it come from. But I see it, and I'm just telling this to everyone around me. So there's no discomfort in saying, or there's no like, what if I'm not able to do, which used to be earlier. And it felt like bragging and all of that, but I know I'll be back at things very, very soon. So that's the kind of confidence you get when you begin to, understand yourself and have that awareness and become that independent as well. So just wanted to add that it's going to reflect in everything that we do ahead in life as well. So yeah.
I'm glad we could speak, because I feel it's a very important part of your journey as well, this whole part, right? So yeah, thank you for sharing. I think because we've spoken so much about, being in tune with your body and like listening to yourself, I think the other part that I definitely I like asking everyone about is that journey with intuition, with tapping into that inner wisdom, right? I know you're still in that progress. You're still working on that aspect, but I'd love to hear, like, now if you look at it, can you see how has your journey been overall trying to get here?
Definitely. So I think before Eunoia, it was me listening to everyone. Like, even before doing something as small as maybe buying something online, I would ask 100 different people for their reviews, if they've used this, if they've used that. What would you recommend? And then check what is the price to value proportion, what makes sense for me to buy at what price. The typical logical person and I don't know, with my defined head and Agnya as a projector, I was so much more logical than I see everyone else inside Eunoia as well. For me, it has been very hard if I look back and see, the logical mind would never be quieted. There would always be some kind of processing happening. Even for this interview, I would have done 3 days of prep, easily 3 days of prep. And I would have been like, oh my God, will I forget saying this? Will I forget talking about this? So from that to a person who is more like, okay, whatever I'm meant to say and share on the, podcast, I'm going to be able to remember it at the right time. I don't know if we really call this intuition or instinct, or maybe trusting your inner wisdom, but that has been the case with me so far. And I know there's a long way for me to go, but whatever small little things are happening, I'm really enjoying. I don't ignore the small nudges, and I don't ignore those small voices. And if I don't feel like doing something, like, it feels off, it's not something that I would be happy about doing, I quite quietly quit it and put it aside. I've been very excited about the Soul Talk challenge that was supposed to happen in February, is happening, and we are a few days into it. Somehow there's this excitement when everyone is doing inside, and it comes up as a stack or a challenge inside Eunoia. So I felt it's coming at the right time, and it definitely is. So I've been more aware. I've been listening to those voices, and I've been doing the morning practice as well, not as consistently. Still, I'm not forcing myself either for those practices, but I see very small changes. So I think for me, it's more about building that trust now. I think I know the processes. I know how to receive, and how to not let your logical mind. It's more about building the practice, and then eventually trusting the messages that you're getting. So my logical mind does come in pretty often, even now, but I have gotten so much better at dealing with it. I know this, it's just trying to sneak in and, put me in another anxiety and create a little mess for me. But I'm getting very quick at, catching it before it becomes like a big trouble. So I think I'm in the middle somewhere, still trying to, I'm still trying to figure my way out, but I also feel that it's just my practice, and the more trust that I'm going to show, and things are going to be beautiful with my intuition, my higher self, and my inner wisdom as well.
Lovely. It is a process. I think one of the things that I wanted to also talk about is it's not about having been in Eunoia so long that you feel like I should have done this already. I should be. It's also about the timing that makes it right. It's also about being okay with knowing that when it's right, things will fall into place. So now it is the right time for this to happen. And I was also not sure. I was like, February, March, when do I do it? But everything in was like, no, you got to do this in February, right? Like, so that's what it is. The timing is right. Everything just falls in place. And so not pushing yourself before it's time for anything, I think, is an important part of the journey as well, as far as the spiritual path is concerned, with everything for that matter. So I think we pretty much covered all of it. Like, we've spoken about everything, even if I did not directly ask about how it has impacted your life, because you've shared all of those amazing things. But I think, other than in terms of what else have you enjoyed the most inside Eunoia? We've spoken about topics and stacks and all of that, but what else have you enjoyed inside Eunoia?
My most favorite thing is the 11/11 post. I think I am the first person to say, Reshma, I'm missing those. And, so 11/11 posts are those small nudges. And I think because, yes, of course, instinctively and intuitively, whatever post comes up is what I think I end up needing, whatever I journal or whatever activity is there we end up doing. I definitely find a lot of joy, and it just feels like the right time. So Facebook group 11/11 post is my absolute favorite. I think there's this time on my phone, 11/11, and I get a notification. I'm like, okay, jumping right in. That's how I start my work day as well. So around 10:30, 11, I reach office. I just settle down, calm down. The first thing I do is 11/11. Okay, what's up today?
Nice. Okay, that I had no clue it was that much of a thing. I know you guys miss them at times when I don't put them out. But yeah, okay, I'll be more mindful of this.
The timing, as always, definitely always works inside Eunoia. So whatever comes up, I think works beautifully for everyone who's doing that. Other than that, of course, the community. So, there were times when we were trying to be independent, not there as yet, but struggling. The community was a great help. So, because people who have been here for long and we've known each other, we understand where they are coming from, their journeys. And it's like everyone's very supporting. I don't know, how do you find the right people in, and how do you get us all to be so um, it just feels home. So, like, I was telling my husband as well. One thing that remains after the delivery and all is that I'm still going to be joining Eunoia sessions. I'm still going to be there because that is home. I don't know, wherever I am, this feels like, I'm at the right place energetically. I'm at the right place with the context of, conversations we have.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it's just about reading what anyone else is saying, or nudging them to the right thing, or us sharing what we are going through. And then sometimes there are also these one-on-one conversations that we end up having with some other people, so it feels like a very close-knit family. And everyone's just aligned to the same goal of energetically growing and supporting the whole consciousness, and just bringing about a change, even if that's as small as working on ourselves right now, which is then going to multiply and become this huge ball. So it's just the space. It's just everything that we have on Instagram, Facebook, the sessions. I might be at my lowest, and I just join a session and I get so many insights, and life feels so much better. Life feels so much easier. The synchronicity session that we had, I think I was like, everything is over. And then I'm like, okay, you get what you want, and there's life beyond what you can think. So everything about Eunoia, but especially the community that you have, the kind of energy that Eunoia brings, I think.
Yeah.
So that's the most special part.
I think that's why, I never get the strong pushes to market it or promote it a certain way, just allowing people to come in as and when it is right for them. I think it just ensures that the energy of the group stays the way it needs to, and it stays in that space. That I think is an important part of it, like, so which is why every time my logical mind says you should be doing this, that, and this and promoting, I'm like, no, I'm not going to force this. If it feels right, it's going to automatically happen. And even if irrespective, if someone's meant to come in, they will come in. And I think one of the things that I've also been learning to be okay with is having this as a small group, which slowly builds over time. Because, when I obviously, as a person who's into business and all, you always think in terms of numbers. You think more people, the better. But I'm starting to, with Eunoia especially, we did have a lot of people who've come, gone, joined, keep coming again, going. So we've had all sorts of people who made it. But it's always been that small, beautiful community. And it makes so much sense is because at any point of time, it's that energy that ensures that you're either in or you're not in. So if you're an energetic match, you're there. If you're not an energetic match, you're not there. I think that's more than whatever other reasons people think that they're not inside. It's because of the energy that I feel that we maintain. And I'm learning to love that this is great as it is, because even if it is helping a few people along the way, I'm happy doing just that, because it is more impactful, I feel, in a way, when I get to do this, because I know everyone. Imagine having too many people and then not knowing anybody. I mean, that doesn't help. I don't know. It's what I've realized. Again, going from a person who was like, who wanted numbers and all of that, to now thinking that, dude, I'm happy with our small, because see, this is the kind of connections then you get to say we love the space, because everyone's there in a certain way. They show up in a certain way. They're there for each other in different ways. You connect differently. And that cannot happen when there are too many. Someone gets left out, or it's not the same, you know. Yeah. Interestingly, I think we started off with saying that I don't want this to be, a promotion heavy, but we've spoken so much about it from that perspective. Definitely not the intention that we wanted, but I think it just happened so that it felt natural to talk about so many aspects of it. But your journey, honestly, like I said, that was the thing that got me thinking, I've been thinking about doing this for 2 years now, but deciding to do this was actually seeing how much you've grown, right? Because I think that reason is because I've seen you before. I've seen who you were as a person before, like extremely control oriented, perfection and hustling, and coming to this person who's like so different right now. And it makes sense because that's what this journey does for you. And it's not like we go in with the intention to become this. I don't think
Yeah.
none of us who are here had any intention that this is where we are. But I think it's about, we still worked on what we thought we should work on, but life, you start, I think it just starts taking away all of those unnecessary things
Yeah,
and takes you where you're supposed to go.
totally.
Yeah.
You can create as many plans as you want, but when you trust and surrender, there are bigger and better plans out there for you.
Exactly. Like that was like the best thing, right? Like what the way you said it was absolutely perfect. So I think we stopped planning. We were remember,
Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
God, those months where we used to set goals for ourselves, the three of
Yeah,
us, we
yeah.
would like we'll do it. Oh shit, like, and now we are like, we don't have goals for year also.
Yeah. We're just going with the flow, and that's been serving so well. So like there's no need to go back to those goals and
Exactly.
become so rigid and controlling that this is not happening, that's not happening. I think we are getting better things than what we could have planned in the
Yeah.
first place.
Yeah,
So
hearing
yeah.
all that from you makes it a lot more different. Oh wow. But yes, this has been like a really amazing conversation. I do obviously have one last question, for what would you say to a person like you
Okay.
who might be thinking, who may want to, but not sure if they should.
Yeah. So somebody like me who is not as sure, like I wasn't sure before, but there was this desire to get out of, see, things weren't working. Things, I've been a very serious person all my life. Things didn't work. I've been this very logical person all my life. I wasn't happy. So I think it made sense for me to try and do things differently and just follow that small little nudge. I seriously remember not renewing for more than a month. I would renew for a month and be like, let me see what happens. Maybe if you are not sure, start with a month and have no expectations. I'd be like, have no expectations, go in, see what's happening, join a session if you feel like, do the 11:11 post if you feel like, just hang out in the community, just read what's going on, just maybe ask a question if you feel like. Don't force yourself, because then things are not going to work out. But if
Mm.
there is something in you that is looking for a change, and if there's this little nudge for you to try and see if it feels inviting, it feels like it's calling out to you, if it feels like I would want to be in a space where they're all nice people, really helping each other and supporting and holding space for everyone else, come and just be open and witness the energy. If you like, you always have the scope to renew and go ahead with it. If not, Reshma is the best person to be like, take your time, come back whenever you are ready, right? So there's no like you have to be here. And for some it's the sessions that work, for some it's the recording who are doing it on their own, for some it's just the community aspect of it. So maybe just join and figure out for your own self. Don't go for anything that doesn't feel aligned or feels forced. Try it out, I would say. There's no harm in trying. And then if this is meant for you, like we say inside Eunoia, and you can't stop yourself. So if it's meant for you, you're going to be here.
Yeah.
So try it out and see.
I love what you said about, from joining Eunoia perspective, but Eunoia is not the only place where people need to start the journey from. So I'm going to ask that question again, which is, what would you say to a person like you, the
Hmm.
old you, who wants to maybe think about going down the line of spirituality, because being that logical, very controlling, and
Hmm.
all of that, scared of change, what would you tell that person who may
Hmm.
be considering a spiritual path?
Okay, great. So, I think, as a logical person, you are not able to see that life can be as beautiful when you stop trying to control everything and be very particular about how everything should be very perfectionist and, have particular plans about everything. I think life is very beautiful when you decide to flow with it and not be like very rigid. But having said that, if someone would come and tell that to me, the younger version of me, I'd be like, are you crazy and are you mad? Because, the being very logical and having that sense of control is something that's so much inside of us. It's See, that's what we learn through our schooling, through our college, and being very particular about marks, degrees, jobs, offers, packages. So naturally, for somebody who's been in that space and been very logical, it might feel like something unreasonable. It might feel like, what am I being asked to do? But if you are someone who really likes to take on simple experiments in life and experiences that can open up new doors for you, I think it's definitely worth a try. This might not be for you. Let me be very honest. This is not for everyone. And honestly, there were times when I tried forcing everyone in my family to start practicing gratitude and journaling. So maybe it's not time yet for them. Maybe they don't understand. Maybe they feel it's forced. So if there's not like a force thing, but there's slight resistance, you have a little nudge to try, things and see if things can be better without you being so caught up in the hustle of life. I think it's definitely worth, a shot. Maybe take it up as an experiment. Maybe take it up as a new experience of life. If nothing, you can always go back and start by risking smaller things. Start by playing around. Start by having fun and see if you still feel called to stay. Maybe go ahead. If not, you can, just a few things and you can go back to being who you were. So definitely worth a try is what I would say.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like I said something similar in mine as well when these guys asked me that question. It's like, it's not so serious. It's worth an attempt. Like, why not give it a shot? I think is what, we give that a little bit of that option. Experimenting fun, always all good things, right?
Yeah.
Because if we go in with that mindset, I think that doesn't help. Like, all or nothing doesn't work. Give it a shot, I think works better in this situation. Thank you so much for sharing. Like, I think the contrast in who you were to who you are now is so amazing. It's like a lot. And also sharing that is also not easy. But I think it's part of the journey that you're able to look back and accept that version of you, accept all the growth that has gone in, be proud of all of the growth that has gone in, the effort that you've put in to become who you are now. And this is still just the beginning of, well, everything else. And so thank you so much for coming and sharing that. Like I keep saying, the journey, everyone's journey is still very, very different. We all have our own paths that we take, our own things that we follow, timelines, everything is different. But it's, even irrespective of all of that, I still feel that we still find some solace in everyone's journey. Because it all kind of feels still similar, even if it's not exactly the same. And it gives a certain kind of comfort, I think, for wherever you are, whether you've not yet began your journey, you're in your journey, you've moved ahead in your journey, it still gives you so much more things to think about, I feel. So thank you so much for sharing, Palak. Anything else you would like to add as we wrap up?
Yes. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share. I am this person who's like always ready to share and, talk about everything. But what I feel like sharing is that I wasn't this. I was so self-conscious and it was very difficult for me to open up about my challenges because I felt they're just my own.
Yeah.
It's just me going through this shit. But I realize everyone is in some way or the form going through something or the other. And honestly, had I not been as authentic about my challenges in the sessions, not asked for help as much as I did on sessions, if I would have been, trying to cover up things and be someone that I'm not, faking my challenges or faking that everything's good, I wouldn't have had the kind of growth that I've had. And it's also me learning inside Eunoia to be authentic. Like, as a part of all the self-work and self-worth issues that I've limiting beliefs that I've overcome, I've accepted myself for who I am is how I got the courage to be authentic and, really open up about my challenges, which might be just my own, but I am okay with it. Like they are there and I'm going to be able to fix it, is what I truly believe now. So Eunoia is a beautiful space and has, did everything for me, that the changes that you see are visible because of Eunoia. But then, of course, you got to do the work. Like
Yeah,
there's no shorter way around. It takes
correct.
time. You have to do the work. There's all kind of support available inside Eunoia, outside of Eunoia as well. However you feel good, keep hearing those little nudges. They are not always your logical mind. They're not always something that you should ignore. And have fun. I think I'm from a serious person to becoming this. I'm still learning to be more joyous and having more fun, but life is better this way. So
Yeah.
have more fun and keep enjoying. Everything's going to work out.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're good with that. That's a beautiful end to this amazing talk that we've had. So thank you so much for being here, sharing all of the amazing things. And if you've learned, if you've gotten something amazing out of it, do let us know. And if, as always, if you feel called to join Eunoia, feel free to. We have a wonderful little space where we'd love to have you if you're if you feel that in a call. That's always the most important part. And with that, we are closing today's Eunoia story. Let's see if we have more down the line. But if not, see you in another. Thank you so much.